Hi guys, it's day 17, and first I want to apologise because yesterday I said it was day 15, I think, and it was actually day 16, so apologies for any confusion there. It is day 17. I do get mixed up with my days because it just seems, I don't know, like I've been doing this for years now, even though it's only been 17 days. Um, but yeah, today I just want to talk a little bit about medication. I've mentioned it a couple of times in my previous videos, and I just want to talk about my own experience of having to take medication for my depression and anxiety. And I'll be the first to admit that, I think 5 or 6 years ago when I was first diagnosed by my GP with depression and they wanted to give me antidepressants, I was very kind of antidepressants. I felt like it was a sign of weakness to need medication, and that I should be able to just get through it on my own without having to rely on things like medication. But I took the medication, because I wanted to feel better. But yeah, part of me did feel like it was a defeat almost that I had to rely on medication. And I had this kind of issue in my head that I don't want to end up stuck on antidepressants for the rest of my life, because that's almost like a sign that the depression's won in a way. Like I need to rely on outside help. So yeah, I started taking the antidepressants, and I mean, unfortunately, it didn't really have much of an impact, if I'm being honest. I've since found out that GPs generally will give you like the lowest dose of any antidepressant that they prescribe to start off with, and then see how you get on. And then they're supposed to kind of gradually increase the dose as you go along if it doesn't work. Because yeah, antidepressants, the effects are very hit and miss. It takes 2 to 4 weeks for any difference to even be noticed with antidepressants. So it's a hard kind of area to deal with, I think, getting the dosage right, the right antidepressant. It's kind of like suck it and see, really, see what works, what doesn't. So I've been through, several different antidepressants over the last 5 or 6 years, and all of them, I didn't really. They helped to begin with, but ultimately the effects kind of fade away after a while, and I always end up back in, deep depression again. It's only in the last couple of years that I've kind of educated myself, really, because I want to understand this disease. I want to try and fight it from any front that I can, just to try and get on top of it. So I've kind of made an effort, to understand the ins and outs and the treatments and things like that. So yeah, I've really kind of educated myself on antidepressant medication, and I think it definitely has a place in the treatment of depression. I think it's a useful tool. Unfortunately, there's no such thing as a cure for depression, but antidepressants can kind of stabilize your mood, and that would help. If you're in a stable position, you can then get other help. So things like therapy, alternative therapies, things like that. But the medication itself kind of just gets you to a level where you can function again. Really, it's not going to cure depression. It's not going to make you feel, happy and jolly all the time. It just kind of gets you to a point where you can function really in the world, and it's important, getting to that stable place where you can then start looking at other options, because yeah, we really do need to kind of hit depression from all sides that we can, because it's a horrible, insidious kind of illness that's really hard to pin down and deal with. So yeah, at the moment I'm on a pretty big combination of antidepressants. So I'm on 2 antidepressants at quite high doses, and I'm also on anti-anxiety medication. And the antidepressants that I'm on, they're called SSRIs. So they're basically, it's selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. And I think a lot of people think that, serotonin, to start off with, it's a neurotransmitter that, kind of sends your brain messages, happy signals, basically. They help with your mood. So if you have a high level of serotonin, you're generally going to feel better, really, you know. And I think a lot of people think antidepressants, they increase the amount of serotonin or they help you produce more serotonin, but they don't. So selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, they effectively block the receptors in your brain which absorb the serotonin. And what that does is it means that there's more serotonin available in your brain. So it's the same amount of serotonin, it's just you're absorbing it at a different rate. So the more quickly you absorb it, the less effect it's going to have. So these antidepressants, they kind of attach themselves to the neurotransmitter. I can't think of the word, but they attach themselves to the neurotransmitters and they stop the serotonin from bonding with the neurotransmitters and being absorbed into the brain. And that means that, yeah, the serotonin that's already there will hang around longer and have more of an effect on your mood. So that's the science, really, behind SSRIs. There are other types of antidepressants that don't utilize that technique. I mean, I've never been on them, so I can't really talk about those. I can only really tell you my experience of SSRIs. I'm also on an anti-anxiety medication called pregabalin, which helps with my, it does help because I remember not taking pregabalin. I remember how bad my anxiety was. My anxiety is still quite, hard to manage on a day-to-day basis, but I remember how bad it could be. And since I've been taking the pregabalin, it's really, really helping me. So, yeah, I think that as much as, when I was uneducated and a bit ignorant towards antidepressants, I was very anti, medication. I was like, no, I don't want medication. I should be able to do this on my own. I should be able to just get on top of it. And now I'm more of the view of, why wouldn't I take antidepressants? Because they're there to help. That's all they're there to do. They're there to help you get to a stage where you can cope with your life and, makes things slightly more manageable on a day-to-day level. So my question is, why wouldn't I do that? It just seems sensible to me. And I think they get a bad press. I've read lots of articles about how antidepressants, we're becoming overly reliant on them, and they're a crutch that we just use rather than getting the help. And maybe some people do use antidepressants as a crutch. Maybe they take them and they think, I don't need to do anything else. I'm on antidepressants, that should be enough. My personal opinion is, I take antidepressants to get me to a level where I can then focus on getting other help. So I don't have to worry about the day-to-day kind of hopelessness and horrible feeling that I have inside, this empty void that I just can't fill. The antidepressants get me to a level where I'm kind of not having to deal with that on a day-to-day basis, and I can therefore focus on other ways of helping myself. So therapy, all the other stuff that I've done, like flotation therapy and acupuncture and reflexology, all the stuff that I know that can help. Like I read lots and lots of books about mental health, and I take what I can from everything that I do read. And I think that's the secret, really. You've got to look everywhere you can, really, to get the help. But antidepressants in and of themselves aren't the answer. They're not the cure, And unfortunately, I think it's getting to the point now where pharmaceutical industries, they aren't really investing a lot of money in developing new antidepressants. So it's kind of, it's hard to get, a good antidepressant that's going to work, long term for it, because they're not really developing them anymore. And the ones that are available, sometimes they have limited effect. And in my case, my psychiatrist is he's trying to come up with a combination of different things that are going to work. And it's taken a long time. It's been very trial and error, in terms of dosage and the different types. In the last 2 years, I've been on at least 3 different combinations of antidepressants. And we finally kind of got one which I think is helping me at the moment. It's still not perfect, but it's I'm not in hospital. I'm not, a wreck like I was. So yeah, to the people that basically demonizing antidepressants, it's like, why wouldn't we take the the medication that's there to help us, it doesn't make any sense. It's like it's telling a diabetic that they shouldn't be taking their insulin. You know, you wouldn't do that. It's crazy. You know, and painkillers, like, you know, how often do we just pop a couple of ibuprofen or paracetamol? You know, it's just second nature to us. Why is that acceptable? But, you know, when you start talking about antidepressants, people get all uptight and uncomfortable. It's like, it's no different. It's just, you're taking a medication to help with the symptoms of an illness. You know, that's it, black and white, you know. So yeah, that's my view on medication. And as I say, I'm coming from the perspective of someone who's been reluctant to take medication in the past. I had a certain kind of mindset about it years ago that's definitely changed. Like I say, I've educated myself. I know exactly what they do, why they're given to people. And yeah, I think if you're offered something that can help you in some way, even if it's a tiny way, take it. Why wouldn't you take it? And, you know, maybe I am going to be on them for the rest of my life. I don't know. But for the sake of popping, you know, 5 or 6 pills a day, you know, that's nothing really. I'm happy to do that. I also take a lot of supplements as well, because, you know, I think that's important. There are certain things that we don't get enough of in this country. So vitamin D, for example, everyone in the UK should be taking vitamin D. We just don't get enough vitamin D, and vitamin D is vital when it comes to, you know, your mood and things like that. So I take a vitamin D supplement. What else do I take? I take a lot of probiotics as well, because I've looked into and researched, there's a definite connection between your stomach and your brain. So your stomach produces a lot of serotonin, funny enough. And if you don't have a healthy stomach, that can affect like the serotonin going to your brain. It sounds bizarre, but yeah, your stomach's attached to your brain by something called the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve it goes through your whole body to all your major organs, really. And if you don't have a healthy kind of vagus nerve, then you're going to suffer, not just in your mental health, but in lots of different ways. So I take a lot of probiotics, because that's been proven that if you have a healthy gut, that can have a real impact on your health, not just your mental health, but your overall health. Yeah, so the supplements are there. It's like, you know, I might end up, I think altogether I take like 20 pills a day, but it's worth it, I think, in the long run. If anything's gonna help, why wouldn't I take it? So yeah, that's just my view of medication. You know, don't view it as a bad thing. Don't view it as a weakness that you have to take it. Don't view it as, you know, a prison sentence that you're going to have to be tied to for the rest of your life. You know, look at it as what it is. It's an aid. It's a tool that you can use to make yourself feel better, and that's all it is, and that's all you need to think about, really. But yeah, I'm going to leave it there for now. Hopefully that makes some kind of sense to you all. But yeah, I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Coincidentally, I'm going to talk a bit about psychedelics. I've mentioned it in one of my previous videos, but they're doing a lot of research at the moment about the effects of psychedelics on, you know, mental health. So things like depression, anxiety, addiction. You know, they're finding really good results, and I've done quite a lot of my own research into it and stuff. And I think it's a really interesting topic. So yeah, I'm probably going to do a video about that pretty soon. So keep your eyes out. Just in the meantime, thanks for watching, everyone who is, and if you haven't, could I please get you to subscribe to my channel, and, you know, like the video, or feedback if you want to. I always welcome feedback. But yeah, I hope you guys are having a good day, and I'll catch you tomorrow.